Once upon a time, in the 19th century, there lived a man named Dred Scott. He was a brave and determined man, born into slavery in Virginia around 1799. As a young man, he found himself taken from his birthplace and brought to the vast and untamed land of the Missouri Territory by his enslavers, the Blow family. Missouri was a land where slavery thrived, and the cotton fields stretched as far as the eye could see. Dred Scott toiled under the hot sun, dreaming of a life where he could be free and make his own choices. One day, fate smiled upon Dred Scott when his enslavers decided to move to the free state of Illinois, and later to the Wisconsin Territory. These lands were different from Missouri, for they were places where slavery was prohibited by the Missouri Compromise of 1820. As Dred Scott set foot on the soil of free territories, he felt a glimmer of hope. Here, he learned about the abolitionist movement, which called for an end to slavery. The words of freedom and equality touched his heart, and he wondered if he, too, could be free someday. In the free territories, Dred Scott met a kind and beautiful woman named Harriet. She, too, was enslaved, but together they found solace in each other's love. They married and had children, cherishing the family they created despite the chains that bound them. In 1846, after living in the free territories for several years, Dred Scott and his family returned to Missouri. As he walked on the familiar ground, memories of his time in free lands filled his mind. The dream of freedom grew stronger, and with hope in his heart, he sought his emancipation. Dred Scott, guided by his belief in justice, decided to seek his freedom through the law. He approached the courts, seeking their wisdom and mercy. He believed that the years spent in free territories had made him a free man. With hope shining in his eyes, he presented his case to the Circuit Court of St. Louis. However, the winds of fate did not blow in Dred Scott's favor that day. The judge ruled against him, stating that residing in free territories did not grant him freedom under the laws of Missouri. Dred Scott's heart sank, but he refused to give up. He and his lawyers appealed the decision, hoping for a fairer judgment. But the journey to freedom was not easy. The Missouri Supreme Court upheld the lower court's decision, and Dred Scott's hopes were once again dimmed. As he stood at the crossroads of despair, he knew that his fight was not over. With unyielding determination, Dred Scott and his legal team decided to take their case to the federal courts. In 1854, they filed a lawsuit in the United States Circuit Court against Irene Emerson, the widow of Scott's former owner, John Emerson. They believed that the federal courts would see the truth in their cause and grant them the freedom they so earnestly sought. As the case reached the Supreme Court of the United States, the whole nation watched with bated breath. The question of whether enslaved individuals could ever be citizens of the United States and the constitutionality of slavery in the territories hung in the balance. The fateful day arrived when Chief Justice Roger B. Taney delivered the majority opinion of the court in the Dred Scott v. Sanford case. The ruling was as harsh as the winter winds, freezing the hopes of Dred Scott and many others. The court declared that African Americans, whether enslaved or free, were not and could not be considered citizens of the United States. Dred Scott's heart sank once more, for he saw the dream of freedom slipping away from his grasp. The court further declared the Missouri Compromise of 1820 unconstitutional, allowing slavery to spread into any territory, even those previously designated as free. As the news of the Dred Scott decision spread like wildfire, the nation was divided. In the North, people were outraged, viewing the decision as an endorsement of slavery and an attack on the principles of freedom and equality. Abolitionists rose like mighty warriors, vowing to continue the fight against the chains of slavery. In the South, some celebrated the ruling, seeing it as a victory for their cause and a validation of their way of life. The echoes of this divisive decision reverberated through the years, ultimately culminating in the American Civil War. The Dred Scott decision marked a dark chapter in American history, a chapter filled with strife and injustice. But it also served as a rallying cry for those who yearned for freedom and equality. Dred Scott's brave spirit and unwavering determination would forever be etched in the hearts of those who fought for a better and more just world. As we close this tale, let us remember the lessons it teaches us: the importance of justice, equality, and the indomitable human spirit. May we cherish the hard-won freedoms we enjoy today and strive to build a world where every person can walk the path of freedom, unburdened by the chains of injustice and inequality. And as the night falls, may you find solace in peaceful slumber, knowing that the dreams of freedom and justice still burn brightly in the hearts of those who seek a better tomorrow. Sleep well, dear dreamer, for the journey to a more just and equal world continues on.